Good morning, everyone. It is so wonderful to have you all here today on this beautiful Friday morning. Welcome to today's Lunch and Learn. My name is Alexi Collins, and I'm the Racial Justice Director of the YWCA of Northwest Ohio, where we are dedicated to eliminating racism, empowering women, and promoting peace and justice for all. So I want to take a moment to also acknowledge and thank our partners, Healthy Lucas County and Fostering Healthy Communities, which is a collaboration among Mercy Health, ProMedica, and the University of Toledo Medical Center in helping us to continue this work. So I'm not going to take a lot of time in our introduction because we have a wonderful panel of people here today. So let's begin. According to Feeding America, when we think of hunger and food insecurity, those words seem the same, but it may surprise you to learn that hunger and food insecurity are two different things. So, hunger is the feeling that someone has when they don't have food. Food insecurity is a consistent lack of food to have a healthy life because of your economic situation. So, that being said, today we are joined by a very robust panel of community organizations that are dedicated to working to end hunger by addressing food insecurity in various unique ways. So, before we get started, I am going to do very brief introductions of our panel. Today, we have with us Wendy Huntley, the president and CEO of Connecting Kids to Meals, Tina Williams, Director of Nutrition and Wellness Education and Outreach from the Area Office of Aging in Western Ohio, Pastor Mike Hank of Salem Lutheran Church and Program Director of Cooking Up Change, Allison Wood Osman, Community Garden Coordinator and horticulturist of Toledo Grows, and Tanya Scherf of the Executive Director of Food for Thought, Corey Wolin, Executive Director of Same Cafe, and Catherine Smathers, Associate Professor of an Extension Field Specialist in Youth Nutrition and Wellness at OSU Extension. So as you hear from our panelists today, please feel free to add any questions that you have for them in the chat as they're speaking so that we can ask them any questions that you may have. So I'm going to start with you, Wendy. You're the president and CEO of Connecting Kids to Meals. Can you tell us about your organization and what is your mission and what needs do you fulfill?
Absolutely. Alexi, thank you so much for the invitation to participate on this amazing panel to talk about an issue that's near and dear to my heart, food insecurity, especially as it relates to kids and how we address it at Connecting Kids to Meals. You know, we provide healthy meals to kids at no cost, and we are reaching kids who are in low income and underserved areas in our community. We have a nearly 20-year history behind us, and some of you might know us under our previous name of Feed Lucas County Children, and we've shifted that about 6 years ago in order to really expand outside of Lucas County. And so we do serve in Lucas County, Wood County, and a number of other adjacent counties as well, just trying to reach as many kids as we can in order to make sure that they have access to healthy meals. So we operate primarily two programs. Our first program is our after school meal program that's in full swing right now. And we're doing about 2,200 meals a day for kids. And then we transition in the summertime and step forward as the primary provider of meals for kids during out of school time. And we're providing at that time probably about 6,000 to 6,500 meals with about 150 partner sites. So to say that it's busy is an understatement. My staff is amazing, and we're just really passionate and dedicated to what we're doing, but we don't do this work alone. Obviously, we have our funders and our supporters, but we also have nearly 200 partners, such as Toledo Public Schools, Toledo Lucas County Public Library. We have OSU Extension Center, After School All-Stars, our city summer sites, and so many others that help us to make sure that kids have the access to the nutrition that they need. We're doing about, over the last 3 years, an average of 750,000 meals a year. And you might think that number is staggering, but it's staggering because the need is extensive. 1 out of every 4 kids in Lucas County faces hunger. We've got nearly 40% of our kids in Toledo proper that are living in poverty. And so we all know hunger is a byproduct of that. And we do all the things that we can do in order to make sure that they have access to meals. So we've got a warehouse and a kitchen where we, prepare, package, and deliver meals to our meal partner locations and make sure, again, that we're eliminating barriers and making it easy for kids who are engaged in after-school programming or visiting summer sites to actually access healthy meals. And we pride ourselves on the fact that we've got a 3-week menu in rotation, and we do hot meals. And my staff will tell you, we're focused on making sure that we have kid-friendly meals. We have things that kids like. We survey our kids and do everything that we can do to make sure that it's a good experience for kids. So I just encourage you, visit our website. There's so much more information there at www.connectingkidstomeals.org. You can find out more information, more data. You can also sign up to volunteer or give. So thank you so much, Alexi, for just a few minutes to introduce our audience to Connecting Kids to Meals.
Wow, that is awesome. The numbers are staggering, and it's really unfortunate that 40% of our children are in poverty. Can you tell us the difference between your summer program and your after-school program?
Yeah, for our after-school meal program, we're really aligned with a lot of after-school programs that are doing any sort of quality programming. They may be doing after-school homework with kids. They may be doing some sort of STEM programming. They may be doing arts and crafts. It might even be our local sports teams. Whereas in the summertime, it's just any kid that's, they're out of school. So we want kids to come to the summer sites, to the city pools and parks and all of the wonderful things that we offer here in Greater Toledo and in the area. We want to make sure that as they're engaged in all those fun activities and learning opportunities, that their bellies are full so that they can maximize those opportunities.
Yeah, I was at a library once, and I think it was Kent, maybe, and I saw, or maybe and I saw a young person say, "Can I have? Do you have the snack pack?" And I was like, "What's the snack pack?" And I was so curious. I was like overhearing. So I watched, and there was this huge bag for the weekend, like that they can eat for the weekend. And it was full of, and I said, "Can I have one for my grandchild?" But it was like full of wonderful things. Can you talk about that really quick?
Yeah, we provide weekday meals, typically, again, during the after-school hours between maybe 3:30 and 5:30. My staff is obviously much more well-equipped to tell you those kinds of details, but it's usually in that after-school window of time. But then we know that kids that are hungry during the week, we know that they're also hungry on the weekends. And so we have this bag, a weekend bag that's full of shelf-stable, healthy snacks and options so that when kids reach for things, they are able to reach for things that are nutritious. And so, sure, there are a few things in there that might not meet everyone's checklist, but we're dealing with kids, and our average child that we serve is 9 years old. And so, we want them fed, and we can then work with Shoot Extension Center and others to help them understand how to make healthier choices through nutrition education and some of the other partnerships that we have with other community service providers.
And then my last question I have for you, if someone is interested, if people are interested in where they can go, where where are the main places where you do the serving of the children?
Yeah, they're everywhere, but you can visit our website. We have an actual site list, and it tells you exactly where the location is, the address, and what time the meals are being served so that you can drop into those locations and kids can get meals. Again, it's for kids 18 and under. And so we want to make sure that our community knows where all those sites are. So we constantly are updating that information because it changes. We continue to add sites. And so please visit our website to get a list that's updated and continues to be updated so that you'll know where our meal sites are. And of course, if you want to come help us serve some meals, you can sign up and help us do that as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Wendy. Thank you for all that you do for the children in our community. This is wonderful. So now I would like to introduce you to Pastor Mike at Salem Lutheran Church. Pastor Mike, can you tell us, you actually also serve teenagers, and also adults in the community. Can you tell us about your program and what you do for the community?
Yeah, so I'm Pastor Mike Hank, as Alexi said. Thank you for hosting this and leading this. This is a great series. Um, yeah, so we're in the north end of Toledo, specifically the neighborhood known as Vistula. And within our neighborhood, it's the highest concentration of economic poverty in the city of Toledo. On top of that, we're a historic district, and for an historic district, uh, the rules around buildings and redoing them are very stringent. You know, they want to preserve that character of these old buildings, and we're also the oldest neighborhood in the city. So, you know, these buildings can be very costly, hard to repair. Many of them are run down. The housing stock is really depleted in a lot of ways, other than the smattering of middle class residents, like on Superior Street and towards Summit, and some of the low income housing that's been brought in. I should say probably affordable housing that's been brought into the neighborhood over time. But other than that, you know, there's a lot of tough situations where we are. And so, you know, being a church rooted in this kind of neighborhood, there's a specific sort of work that we do. We're not like what you might think of as a more traditional congregation. Salem happens to be, I think, it's the oldest Lutheran church in the city of Toledo. But I read a newspaper article that led me to believe, you know, some old article that led me to believe it might be the oldest congregation in the city of Toledo. But I have to verify that yet. And so, you know, obviously the church has been there a long time, but sometime around the 80s, 90s, you know, as the neighborhood changed, Salem began to do things in a different way, which is to reach out into the neighborhood and to serve people. And that's a beautiful thing. And so we get a lot of help from a lot of partners to do this. And I say all of this to say that the beauty of our church is that we're able to respond to people, as their neighbors, as people who are around them on a daily basis. You know, we're not maybe quite as big or as powerful as like a name recognition item, as though, you know, we were like, you know, we're not ProMedica, we're not, you know, the Ohio State University, you know, and those are great organizations. But, you know, we're smaller, scrappier, but we also, you know, end up relating to people in a different way by nature of being a church. And so one of the primary ways we do that is through food. Obviously, you know, food is used to nourish people. You know, it's something that we all require. But also food is a medium, I think. You know, in addition to the primary benefit of keeping us all alive, food is a chance in order to establish relationship. And it's in the context of relationship that great change can happen for all people involved. And so I think that that's an opportunity for us to connect with people and for us to care about people. So I'll start with our teen program first, Cooking Up Change. Cooking Up Change, you know, I was asked to try to do something in relation to reentry. And, you know, there are a lot of great ideas and programs that people can have, but our thought at Salem was, you know, we'd really like to try to make this grant about the people that we're serving. We want to put 100% of this grant for reentry directly into people in our neighborhood. And I got to thinking about it, and I knew a lot of teenagers that were sort of on the edge of things, you know, not really involved in things, kind of running around, you know, and there's a lot of trouble that can present itself when you're just running around. So we gathered up these kids, these teenagers, and we decided that we were going to do a cooking program, because cooking is a skill that you can take anywhere that you go. Whatever situation you find yourself in, you can use it. Family, you could use it for a career. Hypothetically, if you went into the armed services, you know, you could use it there. You can use it just about anywhere you go. And so we thought that this would be a good way to give them something to do. Plus, it would offer a good connection. We'd let them pick what they want to make. You know, if they said they wanted to learn how to do lobster, guess what? We were going to do lobster. You know, if they said we're going to do lasagna, which they did say, then guess what? We took the time to sit down and do lasagna. and that provided a sense of joy and relationship there as well. And so we did that. We do it roughly for about a semester. We'll be doing it again this semester. But it really provided an opportunity to do some informal coaching as well. So Stanley Smith, who's with the Lucas County Family Council, he does a lot in reentry. He does a lot of work with some really gracious judges. And he intercedes for people, I think, in a unique way that only him and Willie Knight and Mike Hampton really do at this moment in time. And so, you know, between him and I and working with the kids and thus coming at it from two different viewpoints, right? And two different intersectional identities, you know, to offer relationship and informal coaching with the kids. And I, you know, to say without divulging anything personal about people, those relationships have come in handy, sometimes in surprising ways, sometimes in really great ways, and sometimes when somebody just really needs help. And for all of those things, we're really glad. And so that's sort of served its purpose there. And so in doing a second run of that, we're looking at doing that for more young people in our neighborhood, because, you know, not only do we make the food that they want, you know, there's enough for them to take home for their families, you know, they get paid to learn. And then at the end of the program, we gifted them with just everything that they could want, you know, just brand new supplies for cooking, you know, and so they were fully equipped and stocked for that. And then secondarily, you know, but not in less in importance, is we feed our community on a regular basis. So we serve about 285 to 300, you know, and 50 or more meals every Tuesday. And we try to do it with the community as opposed to for the community. And so, you know, we'll have members of our neighborhood helping out. We'll have different, you know, mission partners, we call them, people of different faiths, people of just a wide variety of backgrounds. And the idea there is that this is an opportunity to also equip people with other resources in relationship, and to let people know we care about them. As I wrap up, because I've taken my whole time in answering this one question, you know, in wrapping up, I guess, you know, when COVID hit, you know, I remember being faced with a thing there, and there's already very few resources in our neighborhood. But, you know, very quickly we hunkered down, we made a plan. It was 5 or 6 of us very committed to not going out and taking unnecessary risks. You know, we social distanced, we used masks, we cleaned hyper vigilantly, and we never shut down. We just kept serving our meals. We never shut down a single week, a single day for that meal, because it's important to us. And it's to the point now where we use fresh food. We use, I mean, I'm talking like, you know, nothing that we get is in danger of being expired or recalled. Everything is wholesaled now through some generous people that have that kind of access. And so I'll cook up 60 pounds of ground beef, for instance, maybe, you know, and we just, and we have a community garden that we attach with it. And I'm sure we'll hear more about great things like community gardens and other wonderful food opportunities now that my long-winded speech is done.
Thank you. And you know what, Pastor Mike, you do so much that there is not enough time in the day for you to talk about all the things that you do. So thank you so much for that. And thank you for all that you do and for your valuable services and for caring, because you really care. And I've known you for a while, and I've seen all of your work, you and Stanley and your community. It's beautiful. So thank you so much for that. And we'll come back and ask, you know, some more questions later for you. So next up, I would like to talk about senior food disparities and senior hunger. So Tina, you work with seniors, and I know that there are several programs at the Area Office on Aging that support our seniors. So can you please tell us about those?
Yes, so we offer many different food and nutrition programs at the Area Office on Aging. We've actually been in business and working with seniors over 3 decades. to promote health and well-being and safety for older adults and people with like disabilities, family caregivers to foster independence. So we service about 10 counties in Ohio, and we do this with the help of our funders and a wide range of partnerships. We offer the food and nutrition programs. Of course, as you mentioned, we have a plethora of different programs at the Area Office on Aging, but since our focus is hunger and food insecurity, I'll talk about those programs as you ask. We have the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program where we were actually able to obtain a grant through the National Council on Aging. So we have that grant to help 500 older adults age 60 plus apply for and enroll in the SNAP food stamp program. So we're excited about that program because we actually go out in the community to help them with applying, filling out the applications, because many older adults just don't know how to get online to use the internet. So we make that process easier and quicker for them. We also have our Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program, where this allows them to have $50 worth of coupons to be able to go to our local farmers market to buy fresh produce, fruits and vegetables, and even get honey. So that's an excellent program. And we normally, pretty much every year when we're actually offering that program, reach about 18 to 20,000 older adults that are eligible. So they have to be eligible for the program. We also have the Congregate Nutrition Program, where we work with our local senior centers where they provide a nutrition meal for older adults age 60 plus, and then also home delivered meals. This is also another nutrition program that provide healthy meals and well checks for older adults who are homebound. So as I said and mentioned, we do have a very great program here, and we do provide services and resources, but we also have a training for nutrition and wellness. We help with fall prevention education, and also, which is a class called the Matter of Balance. So that kind of promote health and wellness. And then we also have the Diabetes Empowerment Education Program, which is known for DEEP. And this program has been shown to be successful in helping those that are older adults control their diabetes and reduce the risk of complications. So we're excited about all the things that we do here in our community, and we just want to continue to service those that are older adults age 60 plus and those with disabilities.
That is wonderful, wonderful. And can you tell people, Tina, how people can get in contact with you or get in contact with these programs and how to enroll in them?
Yes. So our website is www.areaofficeonaging.com. They can go there and they will see the wide range of services and resources that we have, programs that are pertinent for those that are older adults. And then also they can call our office at 419-382-0624. They will call our office, and what'll happen is they will go to like our ADRN department, where they will actually take a small assessment, and what they do is find out what their needs is, and they direct them to the proper channels within our agency or those in a community that are in partnership with us.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And for everyone, it's in the chat, the website. And then also, I just would like to let everyone who has registered for this webinar, I will send you a link to the recording, and I will also send you a link to everyone's website so that you can provide it to anyone who you know or anyone who you serve and who might need these services. Okay. All right. So now I wanted to talk about sustainability, and Toledo Grows they address food insecurity by providing the resources to develop sustainability through community-based gardens in the city of Toledo and the surrounding areas. And so that's really important too, because not only is it sustainable, it is also less expensive and it is also healthy. So Tina, can you tell us more about your organization?
Hi,
Yes.
I'm Toledo Grows.
You mean Alice?
I'm
Allison.
sorry, Allison.
It's all right.
Sorry.
I'm Allison Wood Osman. I'm the community garden coordinator and horticulturalist for Toledo Grows. And we do support about 120 gardens that are registered with Toledo Grows. That includes schools and churches and faith organizations and community centers and senior centers and family centers, and again, schools from preschool to colleges, as well as neighborhood gardens. We provide free plants and seeds through an order system once you're registered with us. We host this incredible seed swap at the end of February that's open to the public, where everyone gets free plants and seeds, at least 5 free packets, and then they can come and listen to organizations. We have an education coordinator that goes into, again, all the schools and does garden-based and nature-based education programs. As they were saying, about 80% of the people this area do not eat at least 5 servings of vegetables a day, and most, about 4%, eat none. So we really try to work toward that. Most of the people we serve are low, moderate income. And so again, if they can garden, then that helps with their food budget, plus they're getting fresh food. And what we see as far as a sustainability, it's just not food sustainability, it's community sustainability. So it's really kind of a cascade. So as people work together out in a garden, they learn who their neighbors are or their co-workers. They have a common goal. They get exercise and fresh air. And again, the fruits and vegetables are so incredibly fresh that they're so healthful. So we just see a lot of commonality, folks getting to know each other. As neighborhoods feel a little bit unsafe, it helps people to put names to each other. Children realize that the older folks kind of know some things and they're really cool, and adults learn to be with each other. Just that whole sense of community that we're lacking, just that sustainability. We distribute 14,000 packets of seeds a year. We serve over 6,000 people through the 120 gardens. That's just about half the gardens that report that they pass out their food or host a community meal, or the number of folks that they invite in that are not part of their organization or part of a neighborhood. We grow about 4,000 to 6,000 plants a year and distribute those free to our community gardeners and to some of the public, right, the neighborhoods around Toledo Grows. Our urban farm, for those of you that don't know, are downtown Toledo on Oneida Street off of Cherry. And that's where we grow our food. We also participate in the SNAP program, so we try to get some of the vegetables and fruits and berries that we grow out to the seniors as well. So it's just a wonderful dynamic when you combine people with gardens and getting to know each other. Again, it's community gardens. It's a really great sense of community. And not only, again, is it food sustainability, it's culture, it's people getting together. Most of our culture, your traditions are around food and family and meals and recipes that, your great grandmother passed down, or Aunt, Judy's apple pie, or, someone's green bean casserole. All that stuff can come from the garden, or you can get it from fresh grown places like food markets and food banks and things. And it just is a great combination. I know I'm rambling, but food sustainability, as far as Toledo Grows is concerned, is all about getting the folks together, growing the food, but also being part of something bigger that then cascades and ripples out into the rest of the community. You can find out about our services, and we also offer gardening tips for the public at large. You can find about all of our services and which staff person to contact at toledogrows.org or 419-720-8714. We have information on how to start a community garden if you're interested, just all kinds of different things on gardening and those things related.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And that is beautiful. I would love to garden, but I probably would need some help because I am not a green thumb. So I have a question for you. So if someone wants to, what is required for someone to be able to start a community garden? Can an individual do that on their own, or does it have to be a group?
No, it can be an individual in a neighborhood. We have lots of neighborhood gardens where there was like, a home that was abandoned and taken down, or just an empty lot. We have steps that you take. We usually ask you to, find out who owns the land, go through the land bank, or get a lease agreement, or acquire the land. And we ask you to find out in the neighborhood if there are people interested. We usually recommend you have 4 to 8 people that are willing to come together and help you do this. And, does the area get 8 hours of sun? Is there a water source, or can you obtain water? We highly recommend a soil test. And so we have all those materials and things that we can guide and help you. We are a support entity. We do get calls from people, hey, I have this land, Toledo Grows can start a community garden. We'd love to do that, but we don't have the resources and the staff. But we also find that it's better that someone in the area, people in the area, want to invest in the land, invest in the neighborhood. They have more of a buy-in. And then again, we offer free plants and seeds, free tech support, tool loans, gardeners gatherings, so all the community gardeners can come together and get to know each other and share stories and share skills. We have a mentor program for various aspects if you want to do things in your garden. And I'm here if anyone ever has any questions, but we also support the general public. They can go to our website, they can get the tip sheets, they can call in with questions. They're more than welcome to come to the seed swap. We have 4 quarterly gatherings. We invite anybody that's thinking about starting a community garden to come, because the community gardener is there and you can get to know people and ask them questions about their experiences of starting a garden and running a garden.
Wow, I had no idea that you can do all those things. That is wonderful. Wonderful, Allison. Thank you so much. And if you could put your information also in the chat to let people know how to reach you so that they can get those resources, because that is super valuable. And also even how to even reach, get the resources to be able to, what I want to say, be able to obtain some of the reap the benefits and from your garden, so that from the community garden. So please, if you could share with the audience that information. So now moving along, I will say that all of the organizations that are represented here today are very dedicated and compassionate about what they do. As you can see, Food for Thought works to address not only hunger for food, but also the hunger for companionship and friendship and belonging, as you can see others here do as well. So Tanya, can you please explain the concept of Food for Thought and tell us about your model?
Sure, thanks. Thanks so much for having me. I think listening to all the other panelists, Food for Thought is the same in that we are about more than just feeding people. It's really about connecting with the people that we serve. And from the beginning, in 2007, when Food for Thought began offering sack lunches on Saturday morning to anyone who needed one, to now we've established 10 mobile food pantries in and around the greater Toledo area to expand our reach into the community. And that's really what we're all about, is just reaching as many people as we can and using food as a vehicle to get to know someone and establish a connection with them. So we still offer our weekly PB&J lunch program, which is what we're mostly known for. At the end of 2022, we have given out almost 200,000 PB&J lunches. We do 250 a week, every single week, every single Friday night. We make them every single Saturday morning. It doesn't matter the weather, the holiday. There's a great committed group of volunteers who have been with this organization since its inception, long before I came along. So it's really their dedication and passion that has has propelled this, agency forward into what it is today. I'm just honored to be able to be a part of it, and see the good that we're doing in more communities by offering groceries free of charge without asking for financial information, which is a huge, I think, barrier for a lot of people that are in need, especially since COVID. Just because someone makes a certain amount of money or makes over a certain amount of money does not mean they're not in need. And I would like, to see us as a community kind of get past that. Need comes in all different forms, and everyone has the right to eat, and eat well. And that's what really Food for Thought is all about, is providing nutritious food, fresh produce, dairy products, frozen meat, and really a lot of those items that help people maybe make healthier choices, which just leads to a healthier life overall. So.
That's wonderful. And wow, I'm really in awe of how many people that you all serve. The numbers are wow. Toledo is a beautiful place in that there are so many community members that are dedicated to helping our fellow citizens. It's just beautiful. Could you tell everyone how do you get in contact with you, and how can you receive your services?
Sure. Our website is feedtoledo.org. We also have a presence on several social media platforms: Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. We do not require pre-registration for our food pantries. You simply show up with a photo ID and you're served groceries. So of the 14,000 people I believe we served last year, almost 5,000 of those are children under the age of 17. We see almost 450 families every single month come through our food pantries and get groceries by way of our mobile food pantries. So we're very excited to be able to go to different locations in the community and invite anyone to stop at any location. You can find a list of them on our website at feedtoledo.org, and just stop by, spread the word, because too many times I hear people say to me, I don't think I qualify. I don't qualify for your services. And that bothers me, because if you're hungry, you qualify. Everyone deserves to eat, like I said. So helping spread the word. And I think working together with all these other wonderful organizations represented here will help us feed more people in the community.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. And that is wonderful. Wonderful. And that is the purpose of today's program, is to try to eliminate this, because we're all facing a lot of struggles, especially with inflation. And we'll talk about some more of that later, but we're all facing some struggles. And so all of these resources are available, and a lot of people don't even know about it. And especially the no income barrier with your organization is very, very important, because I know a lot of people might feel that they don't qualify. So thank you for that. And I will share all of this information with everyone so that you can share it with all the people that so that we can, eliminate food insecurity. So now, I know some of you may have heard about or may have seen in the news about the new cafe that just opened in the main library. But this isn't your ordinary cafe. The same cafe has a very unique approach to food insecurity. And so Corey is here to tell us more about that. Corey, tell us more about Same Cafe and how it came to be here.
Sure. I just want to start off by saying how thankful I am to be invited on this panel of rock stars. Same Cafe is a local nonprofit restaurant that actually originated in Denver, Colorado about 16 years ago. Now, the two founders, Brad and Libby Berkey, had spent an innumerable number of hours volunteering at various soup kitchens and food pantries. And two things that they had discovered was the lack of dignity and healthy food access. Now, while a lot of that has changed over the last 20 years, they really set out to launch this dignified approach to bring healthy food to the community, where regardless of your ability to pay, you can actually donate time or homegrown produce. And so conversations had started with the Denver organization about 4 years ago to actually bring this concept from Denver to Toledo, Ohio. And we're so incredibly fortunate because after looking at about 23 various locations, we had finally settled on the main library. And the main library is a gathering place where, regardless of your background, people congregate, you make human connections, but it was lacking kind of the resource to nourish the body. So we did renovations inside the space, utilizing like a trauma-informed design approach. I'll give you an example is one of the aesthetics that you typically find in posh restaurants are exposed brick walls. But if you implement an exposed brick wall in a space where someone, for example, might sleep next to a brick wall, that's not going to create this warm, welcoming, and inviting environment. So we took an approach to really develop a space that cultivates that sense of community where regardless of who you are, you really feel a sense of sanctity and calm. Now, SAME stands for So All May Eat, and our mission is creating community through healthy food access. What makes the cafe unique is the fair exchange participation-based model. So individuals are able to exchange time for a delicious, healthy meal, or, you know, speaking about community gardens or even having a backyard garden, you're also able to donate homegrown produce in exchange for a meal, knowing that the food that you donate to the organization shows up on the menu the very next day. Now, we opened our doors here in Toledo on November 4th. And since then, we've seen an incredible outpour of community support in feeding close to 4,000 people in the last 3 months. We also provide a cook to work program, which is a job readiness training curriculum that really deepens the relationships for individuals that are curious about, you know, cultivating skills in a culinary setting. It's completely voluntary. You can take as much time as you want, but it's just beautiful seeing the tremendous acts of kindness on a daily basis where community is not only made around a dining table, but it's also made around a prep table as well. So I was at work today, just you know, getting together the menu with the rest of the staff, and there's other organizations and agencies that volunteer time and really help out to create the menu every day. So happy to be here.
Thank you for being here. And so that is wonderful, and it's beautiful, and it's wonderful that you are in the main library, and it is a wonderful space. It is. And I want to know how if we wanted to volunteer, how do we do that?
Yeah, so we have various types of volunteer opportunities. If you log on to samecafetoledo.org/volunteer, you can actually sign up, you can actually sign up to adopt a shift. So depending on the availability of your schedule, we have various times that you can just dedicate, you know, an hour or up to 3 hours working with us at the restaurant. And again, just the emphasis on a restaurant, being in the library, there's individuals that don't typically find themselves represented as a guest in a restaurant, but coming down to Same Cafe and having that warm welcome and inviting invitation, they can exchange that half hour of time and come back into the kitchen and prep vegetables and just create human connections with one another.
And is there an age limit? I mean, or an age barrier? Is how old do you have to be able to volunteer?
Ages 15 and up. We allow permission into the kitchen just because there's a level of orientation that has to take place, you know, as there's, you know, various objects, including knives, that just require a little bit of an older child. But if you're 15 or younger, you can work with us in the front of the house and, you know, clean off tables and sweep floors and, you know, just do various tasks like that are meaningful for the organization.
Wow, that is wonderful. So there's opportunities for everyone to be
Mhm.
able to give back to the community and to do some community service. That is great.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Corey. And if you haven't been there, go there and eat. And you can also, if you don't have time to donate, you can also donate money, correct?
Absolutely. We don't do very much advertising at all, but if you're ever interested, we have meal coins that we offer. So whether or not you want to take a friend out to eat for lunch or just give a meal coin to a stranger, it can always be redeemed for a delicious, healthy meal. And all of our food is locally sourced from various farms and urban agriculturalists and greenhouses. And of course, having opened towards the end of a grow season, we're really looking forward to this upcoming harvest when there's more of an abundance of fresh fruits and vegetables.
Wow. So there is an opportunity for all of you to work together here and make these things happen. Thank you, Corey. So
Thank you, Alexi.
we've all, thanks. We have all been hit hard with inflation and unusually high grocery bills. Carol with the OSU Extension is going to tell us some more about how we can shop and eat healthy on a budget. So if you would like, she has a poll for you, the audience, to take. So please take the poll and we're going to pull that up for you. And also while we're doing that, the evaluation for today's webinar has been put into the chat. So please make sure that you also do our evaluation. And so here's the poll.
Are they seeing all three questions?
All right, so this is question number 1. And it's, are healthy foods too expensive in your community? And overwhelmingly people said yes.
Okay, thank you.
And that we know, most of us know. All right. Can you pull up question number 2? So question number 2. So what percentage of SNAP recipients reported the cost of healthy foods as a barrier to eating healthy? A lot of people said 78%.
Can you put up the results?
Mhm.
There we go. Okay. Great.
And then the question number 3, of the following, which is the best strategy for keeping per meal costs low throughout the year? Are you able to see the results?
Not yet. There we go. All right.
There's kind of mixed feelings on this one.
All right. That's very helpful. Thank you.
All right. And so you have some slides to share with us today,
I'm
Carol.
going to get started right now. Yep. Here we go. You should be seeing my slides now. There we go. You seeing the slideshow?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Thank you for inviting me today, Alexi. As Alexi said, food security is about being able to access and afford, consistently afford healthy foods to nourish our bodies. And I think we heard that it really takes a range of organizations. It takes all approaches to help people to do that. I love that Wendy's organization is providing healthy meals to kids. Mike's empowering teens to know how to cook and actually providing the materials, the supplies. Tina is connecting seniors with SNAP and with fresh produce. And Allison is teaching people about where their food comes, which really encourages them to even try to eat those fruits and vegetables. And then Tanya and Corey, are showing us that need comes in all forms. So as Alexi said, I work for Ohio State University Extension. We offer such a range of programs. But in this area, of course, we offer SNAP education, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program education, and FNEP, and SNAP-Ed is right there in Lucas County. You can go to the Lucas County Extension website for more information. And these are programs that really help people to learn how to stretch their food dollars. I'm not going to be talking as specifically about our organization's services today as I think I was invited because of this concept of affording, keeping grocery costs down. And I just want to share that I've worked in public health for a number of years. I work with nutrition educators. I work with a lot of policymakers and a lot of community leaders. And I consistently hear, they say, of course, people on a limited budget lack nutritious food. Of course, people on a limited budget eat a lot of fast food. Of course, people on a limited budget experience obesity. And they say, because healthy food is expensive. And to that, I say, absolutely, right? That we all know there's a lot of healthy foods that are very expensive, that have high price tags. We've all experienced the 11% and plus of, the inflation in 2022 of our food costs. But I'm here to share that healthy foods, eating a healthy dietary pattern is very affordable on a very low per meal cost. And hopefully by kind of changing that perspective, we can empower those that we serve to more sustainably feed their families. So I come to you today, although I have 2 master's degrees, I'm talking with the voice of experience. My household budget was $1.50 per meal per person between 2018 and 2022. With inflation in 2022, we just couldn't stretch it anymore, couldn't get more value out of buying less. We had to increase it in the fall and have recently increased our family's budget to $2 per meal per person for 2023. What you see there is a 3-week purchase that was made at the beginning of COVID when we wanted to stay out of the grocery store. That was $180 and 120 meals were served out of the food you see there. I always start with disclaimers. I'm not a dietitian. I cannot as such offer nutrition advice. I recognize there are numerous barriers, and I don't mean to downplay or dismiss those in any way, but that a healthy diet for $6 a day is possible. And I know there's a lot more to learn about this, so I will put in the chat a couple of links, here we go, to webinars where you can find more information. And this is to everyone, here we go. All right, there you go. Everyone should have those links in the chat. Then moving on, I get a lot of questions about, all right, come on, advance. I had this problem last time. There we go. I recognize there's a lot of different meanings for healthy food and too expensive. And so for healthy food, I start with the My Plate guidelines. And instead of using that word expensive, I like to really focus on, the actual dollars and cents cost per meal or serving. People ask me, how do I know how do you know that your meals are $2 a person? $2 a person. And I don't break them down per actual meal. I do it on an average basis for every grocery cost. So I'm going to be talking about a grocery purchase, $143, because I only want to spend $2 per meal. I divide that, and I find that that grocery purchase needed to supply 72 meals. So the rule in my family is we don't step foot in the grocery store again until that target number of meals has been prepared and served and consumed. If you take a look at the photo on the right, I did that $143 purchase was on December 31st, a few weeks ago. This is a photo of all the food that was left in my kitchen at that point before I did that purchase. So the food all fit on a few shelves in the cupboard. Everything from the refrigerator and freezer was pulled out and put on the counter there. I get my supplies pretty small. I'm pretty close to the margins, if you would. These are a few typical grocery purchases. You can see we eat a lot of fresh fruit and vegetables. We eat whole grains. We eat high quality dairy, cheeses, proteins, some meat, and some plant-based proteins. Here's that $143 purchase. This was, again, December 31st, 2022. These foods, along with those foods that you saw 2 slides ago, did in fact supply 72 meals for my family, 24 breakfasts, 24 lunches, and 24 dinners. A lot of people ask me, what do you buy? And the commonly purchased foods I think about in these categories, what grains will I provide for my family? Proteins, including dairy-based proteins. And then, as you can see, most of our fruits and vegetables come in fresh form. I do buy some frozen vegetables and occasionally frozen fruits, but none of my fruit calories come from juices. They're all whole fruits. To augment that, we buy sauces and seasonings and some dressings and just a few condiments and the occasional coffee and chocolate, of course. Here's just a few, just to give you an idea, what did those 24 breakfasts and lunches entail? We eat what a lot of Americans eat. We eat cereal, whole grain cereals and fruit and yogurt and granola. We eat eggs with toast, eggs with bacon, eggs with sausage. We eat French toast, and we eat the 24th breakfast was a breakfast burrito. For lunches, we love various salads, a variety of sandwiches, some soups. I love a hot bowl of chili in the winter, pizza, and then dinners, everything from, occasional fish or seafood, some pasta and marinara, some Tex-Mex. We get fresh salsa, fresh guacamole, we get breaded chicken, we eat a lot of stir fry, and some pizza. So that's just, and then here's a few more meals, and these are more from the summer. So you've got some barbecue and some wraps and some more stir fries. But just to note that all of our meals are served plated. What you saw was the meal, and there were no seconds. Everyone gets that plate of food. If there's anything I like people to take away from these presentations, it's that, the healthy foods that get the bad rap for being too expensive are indeed, in fact, very low cost per serving. Here's the actual grains that I purchased in the last few weeks. They come out to about 25 cents a serving on average. So that's $1.50 a day if you get the full number of recommended servings. Proteins can be more expensive, of course. $1 per serving is what I pay for good quality chicken, but my proteins can go down as low as in the 20 to 20 cents, 25 cents. But let's say 2 of those servings, 2 chicken servings, that's adding $2 to my day. Milk, a serving of milk right now, 8-ounce glass is 17 cents. The other dairy servings are coming in around 20, 30 cents. So 3 of those servings would add another 70 cents for your day. And then again, those fruits and vegetables, which get a really bad rap for being too expensive, really come in around 25, 30 cents a serving. And if you had the full serving, the full number of those, which we heard from another speaker, some people get none, but if you got all 9 and it was 20 cents a serving, that would add another $1.80 to your day. Add those food groups all up, and it's $6 a day or $2 a meal. Any way you slice it, right now, today, even with inflation, if you're buying the healthy foods first and not like, we don't buy all the ultra processed, the pre-prepared, the packaged stuff, it does come out at a very low meal cost. And people say, well, that's great. That's one case study. That's one household. But the good news is the U.S. government has been estimating the cost of healthy food since the early 60s. And they did a big reevaluation just a couple of years ago, 2021. They cost out the price of eating a nutritious food at 4 different price points. And the thrifty food is the lowest of those. The thrifty food plan is very important, of course, because it's the basis for the SNAP allotments. It's the basis for how much people get in food stamps. And the reevaluation was done, I think, remarkably well. I invite people to go to that report. They do recognize that to eat at the thrifty food level, that low price point, does require some planning and at-home prep, but what they've added in is more convenience forms of food and more accommodations for individual and cultural preferences. So that question that I asked about what percent of SNAP recipients report cost as a barrier, and I think, let's see, most people said 78%, a lot of people said 94%, and a lot of people said 61%, but they did a survey and this is just to show that this is the most recent adjustment for that thrifty food plan. You can see, if you look at the detail here, the weekly cost for an adult, depending on their gender, depending on their age, comes out to $51 to $71 now in real cost. National data sets, huge data sets. Mine is 42. So I'm confident if I can do it for $2, and the thrifty food plan says it can be done for $3, even for a teenage male, who has much higher, larger volume, larger nutrient demands than I do. I'm confident that nutritious foods can be purchased for $3, $4 per meal per person, but that's just not often the perception or the message that's portrayed in our communities. But then we get back to, okay, what did they find when they surveyed families that are receiving supplemental nutrition assistance? And 88%, almost 9 in 10, reported facing challenges to eating a healthy diet. Almost all of us can relate to that. What's interesting is it was only about 6 in 10, 61% that reported the cost of food as their barrier to eating a healthy diet, and that there's this multitude of other barriers and other challenges, and we know those are very real, and we know that those barriers, all of these barriers, disproportionately affect our families or individuals who are living in our marginalized communities. And so it's a challenge for all of us as individuals, as organizations. How do we reach out and particularly support those communities that are disproportionately affected by these challenges? So then I just like to it was very interesting to me how you answered that third question, which is, what's the best strategy for keeping meal costs low throughout the year? And I asked my husband, what would you tell people, about what's the best way to keep your grocery costs low? And he said, well, if you're gonna spend less, you got to buy less, was his answer. And he said it all comes down to portion sizes, that we have really brought our portions under control. Before I did this, I would routinely eat a big plate of stir fry and reach for another big plate of stir fry. But I realized my very first week of doing this on a low budget, that if I ate two big plates of stir fry tonight, I eat nothing tomorrow night. And so I waited and I didn't eat that second plate, and I cut down. As I said, we plated meals. One plate of food. It's very satisfying, but we don't reach for seconds. And we have found that spending less on food and not more, and providing ourselves indeed with fewer options, has significantly improved the quality of our food intake. So, yeah, a lot of people thought it was stock up on when things are on sale and buying in bulk. And I have absolutely found that to be the opposite, that the more I buy, the more I spend. And you saw how very tight my margin is with the amount of food that I have on a very low budget. To me, the question comes down to, why would I spend my really limited food resources on anything that's going to sit on the shelf and not feed my family? I have to buy food that's going to feed us throughout that week. And that food has to last, and none of that food can go bad. I tell people, buy what you need and need what you buy, because if you need that broccoli that's in your refrigerator to get through the week, it's not going to go bad. You're not going to throw it out. Believe me, you're going to eat it. So that's just a few of my experiences on eating on a very low budget. I always challenge people to think about, what's an affordable number for you, for your household? Is it $2 is very extreme. It's doable, but maybe it's $3, maybe it's $4 a meal, maybe it's another dollar amount. But absolutely, knowing how many meals you intend to get out of a grocery purchase can really help you keep that budget in line. So I will end there. I could talk about this all day, Alexi, but I only had 10 minutes.
Yeah, I need to pick your brain. Need to get some recipes and some, how do you do it? Because
Right.
oh my goodness, but the buy to eat and not, that is fascinating, because it's making me feel bad about times throwing stuff away because I got too much and just let it rot in the refrigerator. And so, yeah, this is fascinating. And I really want to get more information on that thrifty budget and everything, because we all could really need that right now. We all need that right now. So thank you so much. That was wonderful. Thank you. So because we are coming close to the end, I want to ask some questions. And again, if anyone has any questions, please put them in the chat. But I have some questions that any of you can answer. Our Lunch and Learns tend to focus on health inequities. And so we want to know, when people are seeking out services, or people that you serve, have you noticed or have you come across any stigmas or any discrimination or problems that people have experienced when trying to reach out for your services, and how do you address those? And if you want to speak on it, make sure you take yourself off of mute.
I'll venture something forth on that. It's interesting. I think that there can be a lot of stigma around people, needing or wanting help with food, or even really anything in particular, right? And I think that people can experience shame around that. But there is no shame in that. I mean, as you were talking about the presentation that we just saw, Alexi, it's like we all need help. I mean, most of us are just like, in reality, I think most of us are about a paper thin margin away from experiencing a lack of resources ourselves. A couple I often think that there's like one or two key building blocks in every person's life, and it's perhaps different for every person, but if you knock those out, it's like a Jenga tower and things start to fall over. And so I think that there shouldn't be any stigma or barriers to people relieving themselves of the resources available in our community, because there's so many wonderful providers and different ways for those to be obtained. And so a nice thing I think about what we all do, though, in regards to food, is it's so very accessible, and there's a lot of help with that. So I would like to believe that the food scene, especially in Toledo, that people don't feel a lot of discrimination, though I could be wrong.
Thank
So
you.
Let me jump in and talk about connecting kids to meals and, with respect to kids feeling this way, because we know that, years ago when certain school districts may have used, cards to identify kids that qualified for certain meals and so forth, the stigma would be created. I know a lot of our school systems have moved away from those things. For our particular meals during out of school time, obviously we're heavily regulated because we're running federal programs. And as a result of that, kids can just come, they just can come. They don't have to show ID. I always tell my staff, we are not here to be the food police. We absolutely are trying to make sure that we're complying with the rules and regulations as best as we can. But if an individual is 19 and in a school, that kid gets to be served. It is technically school age kids and it is roughly 18 and under, but if a kid is still in school and needs a meal, is that one of our high schools where we serve? We absolutely do that. Certainly when an adult comes up that we know is not 18, our staff is trained to encourage folks to recognize that these are meals that are for kids, and we, have a process and we have to comply with, rules and regulations, et cetera. But, I love the fact that these programs have been created so that kids can just come and be kids and have fun and enjoy whatever programming is being offered, or just to come and get a meal if it's a meal only site in the summer months. And so, they don't have to fill out forms and do all those things. So we're grateful because we have those barriers baked into the actual programs that we're operating.
That's wonderful.
And Alexia,
Yeah.
I would like to
Mhm.
chime in as well.
Mhm.
The rate for food insecurity is more than twice as high among African Americans and Hispanic seniors than for Caucasians. And so one of the things that we have done, a couple things, is that we actually go to the low income housing facilities and provide those food boxes for them that cannot get out. They don't have transportation to get to the local farmers market. So we've been able to take our food boxes to them, as well as getting out where they are and helping them apply for food stamps. Some of them I do see in grocery stores. So we go to grocery stores, go to the housing facilities, but we're in the community making sure that we have these opportunities available for anybody that, will have barriers to getting to our food program and nutrition program opportunities.
That's wonderful. And I know that several of your organizations also bring the services to the client in case someone does not have transportation or cannot physically come out. Does anyone want to speak on that? Like what services do you provide if someone can't even leave their home? How do you get food to them?
I hesitate to say that we deliver because we don't, but I've been known to make many deliveries over the past year because I couldn't stand to think of, somebody going without. And I usually try to connect them with another resource that could do that on a regular basis. I just don't have the staff and the resources to deliver on a regular basis. I wish we did. But I think all of us here we do this work because our heart is in it, so we want to help as much as possible. But like, I think it was Tina mentioned, food for thought is also going out into the community. And I've spent a lot of time in churches and schools in the last couple of years to give them information to pass along to parents, and to the congregation at churches to let them know what we have available, because there might be a lot of families that don't realize it. Again, it goes back to, I don't receive SNAP benefits, or I make too much money, but they're still struggling. There's a lot of things that could keep people from having, the disposable income they need, to shop, medication. There's just a lot of different things. So, we're trying as well to get out there to make sure that the information is passed along, maybe through the students or through kids to their families.
Yes. And I wanted to have the organization mobile meals, but they weren't available to be able to be here today. But that is another organization that does get food out to people, just so that you all know, and I'm sure that you are aware. They wanted to be here, but they just could not today.
Also,
Question.
Alexis, if
please.
I can mention too, I
Sure.
talked about this earlier, but I want people that are 60 plus and disabled to call our office, because we do the home delivered meals, that nutrition program. We help actually take meals to those that are homebound, and we also provide wellness checks too.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Tina.
Sure.
Anybody else want to answer any of those questions before I move to the next one? Now, I am curious to know, COVID put a monkey wrench in everything that we did. Can anybody say how COVID changed how you provided your services during and after the pandemic? And also, did you see an increase in need during the pandemic?
So I'll jump in again. My friends and folks that know me know that I'm not bashful to talk, especially about connecting kids to meals. But everyone had to pivot, right? We all, really had to deal with things being shut down. So initially, if you think back to it, schools were supposed to be closed for 3 weeks, right? So we were initially like, okay, we just have to navigate through 3 weeks. Well, there was a complete shift in how the kids received meals at our meal site. So prior to the pandemic, kids had to sit and eat on site. That was the rule that was, known, and it was just how everything existed. When COVID hit, there were waivers issued that allowed for us to serve grab and go meals. And so we had, families driving through. A lot of the pictures that folks were seeing on television about long lines at food banks and people waiting for food, that was happening in connection with our meal sites as well. And we were really, proud of the fact that we partnered with our school districts to make sure that there were an adequate number of meal sites across the platform. However, that particular waiver that allowed for grab and go meals to take place, which created an explosion in the number of meals that we provided, that actually ended at the end of the school year last year. And so our summer was, especially in June, it was fraught with people calling and complaining, hey, parents and grandparents, hey, it was so much easier that my kid could just go get a meal and come back home. I knew that they were safe, etc. And so we were trying to explain and make sure that everyone understood that, these aren't our rules, these are the federal rules, and a waiver expired and so forth. So we had it was tough all summer, just kind of dealing with that. And so we are back to, obviously our eating on site. And so it seems to have kind of calmed and settled in a bit more with our after school meal program. But, just kudos to our, community. Our community stepped up. We had like 48,000 hours in volunteer opportunities for people that came and packed meals with us. And we partnered with the United Way and other organizations here in town to get that done. And just the financial donations that were provided to help us to feed kids. It was just amazing and continues to be amazing as we get out here and continue to talk about the fact that, childhood food insecurity wasn't just an issue during the pandemic. It continues. And so all those supports that we were benefited enough to receive, those things need to continue so that we can continue to reach as many kids as possible. And I'll also underscore the fact that prior to the pandemic, we were serving about 70% of the meals to kids during out of school time. 3 other providers went out of business. So we're now at about 95 to 96% of the meals that kids are receiving during out of school time. So there's growth, there's more, there's a greater demand. And with inflation and the continuing challenges, I don't see it getting any better anytime. Our numbers continue to trend upward. And so again, if folks want to volunteer and support Connecting Kids to Meals, please visit our website, connectingkidstomeals.org, volunteer, donate, just talk about the problem of childhood hunger and how we're trying to address it.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for that. Anybody else want to address this question?
Sure, I'll come in, I'll tap in and say something. So with the grab and go meals, we provided over 100,000 to older adults so that they can pick up meals and have something to eat. So that was a huge thing that we had to do to pivot during COVID, because a lot of them weren't able to get to the senior centers and congregate and eat. And then we also implemented a tablet initiative where it gave them an opportunity to receive a tablet. So they received the tablet in the mail, and they received internet access, as well as tutorials to teach them how to use the tablets, and then also technical support so that if they had any issues, they can get tech support so that they can have an opportunity to talk to their families and loved ones, because social isolation was a huge issue. So we wanted to help mitigate that. And then also we partnered with the health department, and we took thousands of calls for older adults and just those in the community to set up appointments for the vaccination. So we had to do those type of things to help with our community, especially the older adults, because many of them were more susceptible to COVID at the time. So we wanted to make sure we got them appointments right away so that they can be vaccinated.
Yes. Yep. I remember that. And that's wonderful. Wonderful. Anybody else before we wrap up today? Or any comments? Or is there any question that I haven't asked you that you wanted to address before we wrap up today?
Lex, there's a question in the Q&A box.
Okay. Can you, okay, here it is. I was going to say, I don't see the Q&A. Hi, Pastor Hank, how often is the Cooking Up Change classes, and what are the ages?
Yeah, so Cooking Up Change, we've been prone to do it basically once a year in the spring. So it's about a semester long in the springtime. To go a little bit into summer, but a lot of young people get summer jobs through other great programs like Pathway and et cetera. So we try to make sure our program ends before that so that they can take advantage of other good opportunities that are out there for them. And so our age range has been, we've tried to focus in on teenagers, generally 14 and up. But we've had children help serve in the kitchen on Tuesday meals, not during COVID time, obviously, but so I mean, we're willing to like work with what makes sense, for individuals. So that's basically what we do with that, and we try not to have. We don't ever really want to try to probably have a class of more than 10 or 12, just so that we can give everybody, the attention that they deserve. And being a church like that, what's nice about the way that we do it is we like to emphasize quality over quantity if we can.
Right. Thank you. Thank you very much. And so to be respectful of everyone's time and to wrap up on time, I want to just cover a few things before we go. Everyone who is attending today, please, please, please click on the link in the chat to fill out the evaluation. Your feedback is very, very important to us for our future programming and also for reasons that we need for our funders. So please, please fill out the evaluation. Also, keep in mind, this has been recorded, and I will also send you the link to the recording as well as everyone's website who is here today so that you can reach out and either fulfill some volunteering, or if you need the services, or if you know someone who needs the services, to be able to share those with other people. And please, by all means, share this recording with other people too, because we want to make sure that everyone knows about all of these wonderful, beautiful organizations and what they do. So please share. And before we go, one last thing I wanted to say too, if you want to know about more racial justice offerings, go to our website, YWCA of Northwest Ohio. Just go to www.ywcanwo.org. And one more thing before we end, one of the purposes of our Lunch and Learns is to advance the strategies and goals of the Healthy Lucas County's 2021 to 2024 Lucas County Community Health Improvement Plan by increasing awareness of the lack of health equity in Lucas County. So that being said, there is a survey that is going out to the community. If you receive the survey, which will come in a green envelope, please fill the survey out and return it. It is very, very important. And if you want more information on the Healthy Community and the CHIP, you can learn more at their website at healthylucascounty.org. And so I will also include that in the follow-up email that will come out to you with all of this information. So thank you, thank you, thank you to this wonderful panel. Thank you so much for all of you and the time that you've taken out to give to all of us. And thank you for everything that you do. You all are marvelous, you're wonderful. Everything you do is wonderful, and I really appreciate it. Thank you everyone for joining us today and giving your time for all of us. I want you all to have a wonderful weekend, and thank you again. And if you have any questions or anything, any needs, feel free to reach out and contact me at my email, which I will also include. So once again, thank you everyone on the panel. Thank you for the audience. Thank you, Healthy Lucas County. Thank you, YWCA. Everyone, enjoy your weekend and complete the evaluation, please. Thank you.
Alexi, is there anything else that you need from us?
Oh, no, no. You're free to leave.